like on 3, and that way it's like you have like 3 times the protection, and you just put it on top, and you have your hot water there. It's ready, and so then you just make the bed. Before you call the patient, you make sure you have this ready, so the fermentation, if it's too hot, it can cool down a little bit, but you don't want to wait too long. You don't prepare your treatment wait too ahead of time before the patient comes in. And then you keep it covered so it can stay warm. So once you have this ready, you have your basin with some ice water and your washcloths. Always have a cup of water with a straw for the patient, and then have always your towels close by. And for this treatment, you'll also need like face towels. You'll need a couple of those. Since the patient is going to be laying down, we're going to put, it's good to put an ice bag behind the neck. And if you have one, you can, use that one. And if not, you can just use like a regular bag, like a Walmart bag, and just put some ice in it. And don't make it too tight. Just leave some room for the ice to move, because if not, it will be too hard. So you just put some of it and cover it with a face towel and just put it right on top of the pillow. And we call that an ice pillow. So you put it there, and once all that is ready, then you get the patient. So while she's sitting there, I would explain to her the treatment. Yeah. Yes. I'm telling her that there's a fermentation in her back. I'm going to ask her, is it too hot or is it warm enough? It's just right. Okay. And before she puts the feet in the water, slowly we do the same thing. With the hands, we put in her feet so she'll feel the water. So we'll slowly put in her feet in the water, putting your hand on the bottom so you can, kind of control the heat. And you ask her as you put in, and if it's okay, you let them rest. And you cover them right away. So you cover them, and you go to get your fermentation. But before that, you have a quick prayer with the patient, and then you go and get your fermentation. You get it ready, and you're going to apply this to the chest. Unless they have like an abdominal problem, and then you can apply it to the abdomen. But usually we apply it to the chest because this part of the body has a lot of reflex effects in most parts of the body. So that's why it's so effective. So you do the same thing. You get your fermentation. Of course, you usually have another table to do that. And you just cover it and fold it like on 3. Just like make it a size enough that would cover the chest only. So once you have that ready, you first put a dry towel even though it has a protection already, but you put another one anyway. Fold it on 3. So you uncover the patient. The patient at this time would have only a gown, and it would be like open to the front, because if we leave them with any kind of clothes, the clothes will get damp and wet, and that will cause them to chill. And so we don't want anything on their chest. So we always say, we have to be mindful of their modesty, because they feel uncomfortable sometimes. So you make sure that they have a towel on top at all times, and then you put the fomentation over it, and you put another dry towel on top of it to kind of conserve the heat. And you cover them. The only thing that will be exposed is the head and the neck. After the patient starts sweating, we do the same thing. We apply that cold, wet washcloth. So even though she has a ice pillow in the neck, we still have to apply one to the head and change this one as soon as it gets, it starts getting warm. So this is a treatment that will keep you busy the whole time. You'll just be running back and forth. Like you have to have everything ready and no distractions. And one thing I wanted to mention, one thing that you want to always remember, never talk about the patient's sickness when you're with them. You want to be encouraging. Don't talk about their disease, or don't talk about someone else's disease, or don't talk, not even with someone else in the presence of the patient. And it's very important, for you to act, you don't want to be too talkative also, like, oh yeah, so how was your day, and talk about their whole life, because a lot of times the patient is sick, and it takes a lot of them emotionally and a lot of their energy just to talk, so you want to be quiet, but not so quiet that you won't say a word, just be encouraging, and just have a positive attitude while you're doing the treatment. So we leave there the fomentation for 3 minutes, between 3 and 5 minutes, and after that 5 minutes are over, then you have that close to you, and you have another face towel. The bottom fomentation stays on the whole time. The top fomentation will be changed. That's the one we're going to change with hot and cold, hot and cold. So we have the face towel, and we'll put that in the ice water. You just put that in the ice water and wring it well. Make sure it's not like dripping water. And you tell the patient, I'm gonna put some cold on now. So you always have to warm them so they won't be surprised. And like we said, we always want to keep the modesty of the patient, so you only expose the area that you're treating. At this time, I would remove this fomentation, and I'm going to show you a way that you can change the towels without exposing the patient. So you remove the fomentation, and this one you won't use again. Like, you can use it again, put it back in the steam, but you usually have the 3 fomentations ready already, so you don't need to, so they will be hot enough. So this towel is the only thing that is on top of her, nothing else is on top of her. So you get this cold towel that is wet, and you hold the ends of that dry towel that is on top of her, and you just slide it. So that way you don't expose the patient, and you keep them modest, and you still do your job. And then you keep the towel there. And friction is very important because you're already stimulating, but once you do the friction, you're stimulating even more the blood vessels and the circulation. So what you do is you rub very fast, for 30 seconds. Keep track of your time. So you do 5 minutes of hot, then you change to the cold and just like rub for 30 seconds. And after the 30 seconds are over, you should have already your hot fermentation close by already. Some people, what they do, they get one of those coolers and they have their 3 fermentations in there by the bed already. That way it's, easy within reach. So you can try that or whatever works best for you. And so then we do the same thing. Hold the edges of the towel and take the wet one off, and we bring in the new hot fermentation, put it on top again. And you always ask, is it warm enough or is it too hot? If they say it's too hot, you add another towel under it. And then you cover it and cover the patient again. So while the other 5 minutes go on, you ask her, how is the water on the feet? You always have a pitcher with hot water. So if she says it's getting a little cool, then you can add some hot water. And we do the same thing. To the side. You just uncover the feet. Get them to put one foot on top of the other. And you put your hand in the middle between the feet and the water. And so you pour the hot water and you ask her, and you mix it with your hand and you ask her, is it warm enough or can I add some more? If she says it's warm enough, then you stop. And so then she just puts her feet back and you cover them again. So you're constantly checking the water, the time, and the washcloth on her head. If it gets warm, then you change it, get some more, put it in the ice water again, and put a new one on. And offer them water through the treatment. Because this treatment usually lasts about 30 minutes, and so, usually it's about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. And so you usually want to, keep them hydrated because sometimes they can get dehydrated because they're of all the sweating, So we do that. We check the water, we check the ice, and we do 3 changes, usually 3 changes. You always end with cold. So I'm gonna do one more change so you can see it again. So what we'll do after 5 minutes are over, we uncover, take out the hot fermentation, get the face towel that is wet with ice water, and then you just put it on top. Of course, you tell them cold is coming, and so they can be warm. And you just rub the skin, and then you just dry it a little bit with this dry towel that you put on, because water is a very good conductor of heat, and so if the skin is wet, it can burn them easily. And you put again the hot fermentation. So this would be the 3rd change. And you cover them. You have other 5 minutes. Yes. "30 seconds of cold." Yeah, her question was, it's 5 minutes of hot and 30 seconds of cold. Yes, go ahead.